Hi, I've got something you'll be interested in. Those performance upgrades we discussed after the last race. They're on the car and the data looks promising. Take a look at the details.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to F1 2016 Career Mode for part 23. We're here at the Bahrain International... No, it's the Sakhir International Circuit for the Bahrain Grand Prix. And boy, oh boy, we've got some new parts on the car. I don't know if I mentioned it in the last episode, but we did a couple of upgrades. Well, actually, I did it straight away after Abu Dhabi before I even recorded Career Mode. So, we're going to slow the updates a bit more on this car now, just so we don't pull too far ahead. If you did miss the last episode, do go check it out. There's a bit of a spoiler on the screen, but that's only the rivalry, so I won't worry about that. Toro Rosso bought some new parts for their car, and that's it. All these teams stopped their R&D early, and like only Toro Rosso have got parts ready? I don't know. Anyway, it's only us and Toro Rosso, the two Red Bull teams, incidentally, which have bought new parts for this second race of the season after what was a bit of a disappointing Australian Grand Prix. I've had time to reflect on Australia and, you know, getting the same result that we got a season ago. On reflection, I think that wasn't too bad, given that we've upped the difficulty since then. So to still be sort of where we were 1 year on, so to say, isn't too bad. It just turns out Australia's not a good track for us. Here are our resource points from from practice. We've got ourselves 602 now, as we're now going to have our session goal for qualifying.
Hi, just letting you know that we've had the team's expectations through for the upcoming qualifying session.
Yeah, as we expect now, second or higher and beat Daniel Ricciardo. Ricciardo, of course, is our rival and our teammate and one of the championship challengers. He's arguably the favourite for this championship this year. Look how he's demolishing us in the rivalry. There's the performance index there. I'm now going to send you downstairs or upstairs to Crofty for qualifying.
The cars are ready, the drivers are ready. We hope you're ready as qualifying is about to begin here in Bahrain.
So you join us here in qualifying 2. We got through quali 1, easy as you like, and we're now going in qualifying 2 on a set of soft compound tyres, the middle compound of tyre. If you recall to a year ago at the Bahrain Grand Prix, we started the race on the soft compound tyres and went on to win that race. If you just didn't check out that episode, it was one of the highlights of the season, our first ever race win in Formula 1 and for Red Bull, and we had a very juicy battle with Sebastian Vettel in that race, so definitely go check it out. I'll probably throw it in the card in the top right hand corner, but here we are, still on the same lap. We're in the last couple of corners. We've only got the final corner to go, in fact, and you know, we've whacked the fuel down and we're going hammer and tongs. The setup compared to last year is slightly different. I put a little bit more rear wing downforce on there. It's not going to hurt us too much in a straight line, but it just gives a bit more grip in the middle sector, because we have been losing a lot of time in the middle sector, especially in the high-speed corners. So, as you can see, we qualified in 10th place, just scraped through, but it's a good job we did get through on the softs, because Bottas, Hamilton, and of course our teammate Ricciardo are all going for the same strategy. And look at that, we're over a second and a half off our teammate on the same compound of tyre. Ricciardo is flying at the moment, at the start of this season. It is phenomenal. But now we are on our final Q3 lap. We've already done one. It's put us 9th, where we qualified in Australia. We don't really want to qualify in 9th place, to be perfectly honest. I must mention Vettel and Ricciardo have both got 5-place grid penalties for an incident with Sergio Perez in practice 1, I think it was, actually, or practice 2. They've both got a 5-place grid drop each, as we've gone purple through sector 1, and we're very much up on our delta, and hopefully we can get, you know, the minimum we need is around 5th or 6th place to make sure that we can capitalise on Vettel and Ricciardo's penalties come race day. And here we are right at the end of the lap, open the DRS now, and we cross the line, and where's that going to put us on the grid for Sunday's Grand Prix? And it's going to put us 6th. We've qualified in 6th, not what the team wanted at all, that's not great, but in terms of positivity, we are in the range of Vettel and Ricciardo, so we will in fact start in 4th for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Kimi Raikkonen therefore has pole, so the grid, as I believe it is Raikkonen, Rosberg, Hamilton, myself, then it is Ricciardo and then Vettel. Ricciardo got his penalty first, so his is applied first, then it's Vettel. So there's no change between Vettel and Ricciardo. Here are the resource points we gathered from qualifying. A bit underwhelming, but it doesn't add too much to the pot, really. But it is what it is. Rivalry, Ricciardo's taken pole, so that's not going to be great. Although I believe we were quicker in Sector 1 because we did go purple on our lap, and yes, indeed we are. So we claw 1 point back, I suppose, in that. But it is what it is. The rivalry, the driver position even, is not good. We've established that for a while now that we are going to lose that status pretty soon. But here are our race goals for the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Hi, guess who? I've seen the team's expectations for the race, so I thought I'd pass them on and wish you luck. Take care.
So, race goals. Finish 4th, and then Drivers' Championship 3rd or higher. So, starting 4th, hopefully finish 4th. So, we'll see what we can do anyway. Obviously, you want to move up positions, but we don't want to be losing any. So, we want to aim for a podium. We won here last season. Ironically, we started in 4th last season, and we won on the same strategy. We're going for the same strategy, and we're going to see what happens. I'm going to send you down to Crofty.
There's something in the Bahrain air tonight, and I'm not just talking about the sand. Our brightest minds have thrust their brightest ideas into the spotlight of the Sakhir circuit this evening as we look ahead once more to a Grand Prix that has thrilled us so consistently in the past. Formula One returns to the desert today on this exceptional 3.36-mile circuit. 15 corners provide plenty of overtaking opportunities, and 2 DRS zones will help with that as well. It could be a strategic race, this one, with Sakhir notorious for eating up the rear tyres. Watch out for drivers managing their rubber at some point during the Grand Prix.
Right, let's be patient going into turn 1. We want to be in a good position for the rest of the race. Good luck.
Kimi Raikkonen's perfect lap yesterday sees him start from pole position, with Nico Rosberg alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton and a Red Bull, Felipe Massa and Ricciardo, Vettel, Bottas, Perez and Jenson Button.
So we're starting on the soft compound tyres from 4th place. In terms of the strategy then, it's the same as it was last year, soft, medium, soft. If you do recall from last year, Vettel's Ferrari went soft, soft, medium, and that worked a lot better. Although we won the race in the end, we had to play catch-up because he undercut us, because we had a longer middle stint. So we're probably going to change that around and go soft, soft, medium, just so then we're covered off, and I don't mind finishing the race on the high compound tyre, to be perfectly honest. In terms of the cars we're racing, I presume we're racing Hamilton. He's the car in front of us. He's the lead car on the soft compound tyres, given Ricciardo's grid penalty. So it's pivotal for our race, really, that we get past Hamilton at the start. And if we can pick off the 2 super soft runners in front of us, that's more of a bonus, but they're not really a priority because they're going to pit on around lap 5 anyway. So we will have track position. But here we go. 3, 4, 5 red lights here in Sakhir. Drop the clutch and away we go, and it's been a pretty good start for Lewis Hamilton, who shot over the line. We haven't had a bad start given our tyres, and we're going to go up the inside of Nico Rosberg into turn 1. We get very close to the Ferrari of Kimi Raikkonen, right on the apex. We've got Hamilton on our outside. Now it becomes the inside through here, and we're going to have to let him through. Raikkonen leads from Hamilton. We've jumped Rosberg, who's also lost out to Felipe Massa. We're going up the inside now of Hamilton into turn 4, up the inside, clip the curve nicely, and Hamilton can't hang it around the outside, and we're already up into 2nd place here in this Grand Prix. An incredible start. Last year from turn 1, we took 2nd place on the first lap. Can we go one better this year? We're in a very good position now to maybe contest for the win here in this Grand Prix, providing the strategy holds up as we come into probably the worst corner at this track. Well, it's 3 corners, in fact. It's absolutely horrible, but it is what it is. And we're now in the slipstream of Raikkonen. Of course, the slipstream's powerful. There's a yellow flag off in the distance. I'm not too sure what that's for. We're going to go up the inside of Raikkonen, are we? We go up the inside. We just about, there's a little bit of contact. We throw up the hand of the frustration, and we've got a safety car. We have a safety car here in Bahrain. We haven't been told to give the position back to Raikkonen. We'll see a replay of that later, but here's a replay of the start on the cinematics. As you can see, we got a pretty decent start. Hamilton got the best start of the lot, but just kind of went to the outside and couldn't capitalise it really. Rosberg was the big loser. He's gone from 2nd down to 4th in this race. And as you can see, in fact, he's gone down to 5th because he lost out to Massa. Don't forget, and you can see Ricciardo and Vettel all over the back of the Williams and the Mercedes as we come into the 90-degree right-hander, as we now have a replay on board with Lewis Hamilton with a mega start, a phenomenal start from Hamilton. And this is where he goes wrong. He just sits in behind Raikkonen and doesn't try a diving manoeuvre up the inside. He just sits in behind. That allows us to go up the inside and have our little battle with Hamilton coming through the opening sequence of corners here. And as you can see, as we just pop into the slipstream, we got a good exit onto this mini straight, and we were able to take the inside line and take 2nd place away from Lewis Hamilton, as we're now on board the front wing of Nico Rosberg. As you can see, Hamilton with a lightness. I can't get over how good Hamilton's start was on the soft compound tyres compared to the super soft runners. You can see us diving up the inside, and you'll now just see Felipe Massa pop around on the left hand side. There he goes and steals a position. A wily old fox manoeuvre from Felipe Massa. The old dog has still got a few tricks left in the locker as we're now on board with Sebastian Vettel. A new camera angles, which is quite nice. On board his diffuser, that's the rain light you can see in the rear crash structure. As you can see how close Lewis Hamilton gets and how close we're going to get into turn 1. Not too bad. As you can see, we're going to get a lovely view of the battle between us and Hamilton on the run up to turn 4. And Bahrain looks stunning tonight, especially on this game. As we get very close to hitting the back of Raikkonen's car, as this is the cause now of the safety car. We're on board with Vettel. That's Rosberg and Ricciardo going side by side. Ricciardo's been shoved off the track. He's gone round the corner, and there's contact between Vettel and Ricciardo, and Vettel will now drop to the back of the field. And here's a replay of us taking the lead, showing that the move was legitimate. We were ahead when the safety car came out. Say what you like about the manoeuvre itself. I think it was harsh but fair. But you know, I think I know my roommate Will says it was a bit hit and miss, so to speak. But we're going to keep the position anyway. I thought it was fair enough when I was racing. So if you disagree, or if you agree, pop it in the comments below. It'd be interesting to hear what your views are on our move on Kimi Raikkonen. Safety car is now coming in at the end of lap 4. Ricciardo pitted under safety car for another set of soft tyres. I have no idea why. And I believe Vettel pitted as well. Raikkonen, though, has chosen not to pit. Interesting. I'm not sure about Rosberg. I can't remember. We'll see here. Rosberg has stayed out on his super soft tyres as well. So we'll see what kind of a restart can we do here. We always seem to be leading when we have restarts on safety cars. There's not many. I don't think we've ever had a safety car in this career mode where we haven't been doing the restart. It's really bizarre. Anyway, we're doing the restart now. We've run a little bit wide in the on the exit of the final corner. That's going to put Raikkonen a bit closer to us, but we've actually caught him napping on the restart. And as you can see, we are flying here at the restart of this Bahrain Grand Prix, and we're not being troubled. As you can see, the safety car pulling back into the spot at the end of the pit lane. We now cut on to the end of lap 5 now, just a whole lap later. We're carrying on, but Raikkonen and I believe Nico Rosberg are both pitting. We're going purple, of course, because it's the first lap after the restart. So we are doing pretty well at the moment. And with Raikkonen pitting, that's helped us out quite nicely. We've now cut all the way on to lap 10, where Ricciardo is pitting. Alonso is currently P2 at the moment on the soft compound tyres. We're going to pit at the end of this lap. We could have done one more lap, I think, but we've already been undercut by Raikkonen by a few laps, and now Ricciardo has undercut us as well, despite the fact he's done an extra stop under the safety car. So, you know, although I think our strategy is a bit better than theirs, we don't want to lose too much time by staying out too long at the same time. Otherwise, we lose the effect of our strategy, and well, we don't want that, basically. So we've had a pretty good stop there. 2.2 is that? I think that says 2.2. And we're actually going to lose out quite badly. As you can see, we're already in 5th place. We haven't even left the pit lane yet. That's going to become P7. Will it become P8? Because here comes Hamilton down the straight, and a 2 or 3 lap undercut for Lewis Hamilton has actually worked out lovely for him on the soft compound tyres. He's ahead of us as Vettel's setting purple lap times. We're going to stick in the slipstream of Hamilton and recreate the move we made on lap 1, go up the inside into turn 4 and take 7th place away from the triple world champion in the Mercedes. That was like a British battle, that is. Who is the #1 British driver in Formula 1 at the moment, as we're now catching Russia's Daniel Kvyat. Of course, we, there's a bit of history between us and Kvyat after we took that Red Bull seat sort of away from him and Max Verstappen. And we're now right behind him. Kvyat, of course, hasn't pitted yet in this race. We're on brand new tyres. The move is easy as you like, especially in the performance comparison between the Toro Rosso and the Red Bull. And we're up into 6th place as we come to the end of lap 11. We're now on the end of lap 12. 1 lap later, we're catching Rosberg and Perez. Perez, of course, yet to pit. Rosberg has already pitted. He's on the softs at the moment, having gone from the super softs. As you can see, he's been held up by Perez. Well, are we going to go 3 wide into the final corner? No, we think better of it, but we choose to get a better exit. We go a bit tighter and get a phenomenal launch as Rosberg gets caught up on the curb. We're going to get the DRS as well. Rosberg was ahead in the detection zone, so Perez is in our slipstream as well. As we didn't realise this until we looked behind and see Perez all over the back of us. We're up into 2nd place now because more cars are pitting for their 1st and 2nd stops even. And we are up into 2nd place and now chasing down Kimi Raikkonen, who pits at the end of lap 15 for a set of medium compound tyres, if I'm not mistaken, and we retake the lead of this race. We are going to end on the mediums around lap 20 or so, and maybe even a little bit earlier, lap 19 maybe, but that's all going to change because we've got a safety car out. We have a safety car, our 2nd safety car of the race. Here's why Button and Kvyat have come together, and Kvyat has spun out, sleuthed back across the track dangerously, and that could have been very nasty, and for some reason that's brought out the safety car. We're going to pit at the end of this lap and put on a set of medium compound tyres. The safety car will probably stay out till around lap 9, around lap 19, 20. And we can easily cruise to the finish on the medium compound tyres. I thought about putting a set of super softs on, but we're just not going to get the stint length on them. The stint's just too long to do, and preferably the softs is the best tyre to do this, but we've already used 2 sets of softs. We have to use another compound of tyre, and the mediums is the only one that will get us to the end. We're going to rejoin in P3. There's no cars really around us at the moment. If you look on the mini-map, a lot of cars followed me into the pits. Ricardo, for some bizarre reason, has put on a set of super softs instead of going for the set of softs, because he ran the mediums in the middle stint. I have no idea why he hasn't put soft tyres on, unless he went softer on his tyre allocation and doesn't have another set of softs. So that'll be an interesting thing to follow, as now Hamilton and Bottas now peel into the pit lane. And this is what I said before, we're always leading on restarts. I thought, okay, 3rd, maybe we can do something. But they decided to pit, and that's really harmed Lewis Hamilton's chances of winning this Grand Prix, because staying out 1 lap longer has just basically dropped into the back of the field. He's at the back of the field. What can I say, Lewis? You should have double stacked. I'm sure there'll be some choice words between Hamilton and Mercedes after that conundrum. But here we are on the restart now on lap 19. 10 laps to go in this race. We are not going to stop again. There is Fernando Alonso in a legitimate 2nd place as well, I should note. So that is a phenomenal job from Fernando Alonso at the moment. Rosberg is 3rd on the mediums. Raikkonen's the big loser here. He pitted 1 lap before the safety car came out, and he's been jumped by us. And he's been jumped by Rosberg as well, so that's bad timing for Raikkonen as we now cruise off into the distance, leaving Fernando Alonso for dead. The Renault engine is much better than the Honda engine is now. And we're just going to hope Alonso can hold up Rosberg and cope, although he is having a look into turn 1. We've gone a little bit deep anyway, as we've now got a replay with Kevin Magnussen, who's got a front right puncture. This was on the restart, so that is the worst possible time for K-Mag to get a puncture. He's got to limp round the rest of the lap, and he will probably be getting lapped in this race as the DRS is enabled. And Fernando Alonso is out of the race from 2nd. Oh, that is heartbreaking. I think it was 3rd, in fact. Rosberg had passed him, but it's an engine failure for Honda. That is terrible to see. Heartbreak for the Spaniard, as we've now got cars coming into the pits, and Hulkenberg is now up to 3rd. 1 lap later, Hulkenberg is now up into 2nd, and now look, it's all changing like mad. It's now Mercedes 2-3. Now Ricciardo is up into 3rd because he is yet to stop. He hasn't stopped front of the set. They're all pitting for super softs, as Ricciardo in fact does pit, and Raikkonen's up to third. For some reason, all these guys pitted just a few laps from the end of the race. We now got another replay on board Daniel Kvyat. All these guys pitted for a set of super softs at the end. We stayed out on the mediums, and we're going to cruise probably to victory as Kvyat spins out off the back of a Williams. His day gets worse, and here we are on lap 29. We've got an 11-second lead or something ridiculous. It was up to about a pit stop. We've cruised it to the end. Of course, Rosberg was catching us on the new super softs compared to our worn mediums, but it doesn't matter. It does not matter. And for the second year in a row, in Australia, we qualified 9th, finished 6th. We did that in season 1. We qualified 4th here, and once again we take the win in Bahrain. We are victorious under the lights here in Sakhir.
And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. It wasn't the best weekend for our championship leader, and their advantage at the top has been reduced. Now then, Anthony Davidson, who was your driver of the day?
It's got to be Romain Grosjean.
We can't be far behind though. Grosjean with an excellent strategy to get him into 9th place. 2 stopping. Both us and Grosjean 2 stopped, and we both got in the points. We won the race, and Grosjean went from 15th to 9th. A great drive from the Frenchman. Look at that. Ricciardo and Vettel did 4 stops because they did a stupid pit stop for super softs when the safety car came out, then pitted again under the safety car for a set of mediums, and then they pitted again. It was bizarre. Ricciardo could have won this race today, and he messed the strategy up completely. He was in with a shout when that second safety car came out on the softs. All he had to do was put softs on and go to the end, and he might have won this race, or he at least would have given us a run for our money. But it wasn't to be. Nico Rosberg takes second, showing Mercedes are improving slightly. Raikkonen third. Then it's Ricciardo, Vettel, Massa, Hamilton, Perez, Grosjean, and Nico Hülkenberg, who could have been on the podium. And he made a stupid pit stop for no reason. And I believe he had contact near the back end of the race, and that dropped him well down to 10th place. Look at Bottas, missed out on points in the end. 3 stops was not the way to run this race. It just wasn't. In the championship standings, we've shot up now from 6th to 2nd. Just a couple of points behind Vettel. We're a joint ahead of Ricciardo. We're a couple ahead of Ricciardo as well. And who'd have thought it after Australia that we'd be the lead Red Bull after 2 races? Who'd have thought we'd get a race win in this season before Daniel Ricciardo? I know I certainly didn't, especially coming into this race and after seeing the stuff after practice. That grid penalty really harmed Vettel and Ricciardo, but it doesn't matter. We would have won anyway with our strategy. That's the point. The strategy for the AI this weekend was so flawed. It really didn't matter whether they had grid penalties or not, because they messed the strategy up so much. We would have won anyway. Let that sink in. Although the first safety car might not have happened without the grid penalties, I suppose, but I still genuinely think that we would have won this race anyway because how bad the strategy was for the AI. In the constructors, we're 2 points behind Ferrari. It's pretty tight at the top. Ferrari are already a race winner ahead of Mercedes. They're looking like they'll probably be 3rd place again. Haas, so they've got to pull themselves clear. That they just about got ahead of Sauber after their lucky podium in Monaco last year, so they'll be wanting to stack up their points early again. Here are our resource points and our first driver bonus points as well. Got to collect them while we still have it. Rivalry, we will actually claw some points back here because we've beaten Ricciardo and we got a podium. But of course, he was on super soft tyres at the end. So the fastest lap, we lose pretty much everything. So Ricciardo's going to win the rivalry in the next race. But because we beat him in the race and we're second in the championship, we've clawed 3 points back in the driver position. So all of a sudden, we're a little bit safer. It'll probably hit naught again after qualifying, but still, again, qualifying's an area where we really need to improve. Our qualifying performances of late haven't been good enough, and they're costing us in the rivalry and the driver position. We need to beat Daniel Ricciardo in China, just for our driver position, if nothing else. But once again, we're celebrating in Sakhir. I was coming to this race and I wanted to be able to fight for the win. I didn't think it was going to be possible, and to be able to basically cruise to victory. We had the pace this weekend, not in qualifying, but in the race we had the pace, and that is the confidence we can take to China. I already know the strategy we're going for in China. It's so obvious that the super softs are not the tyre to use there, and we'll use the same strategies we did last year, and hopefully it'll help us possibly fight for another win. But as I said, same qualifying and finishing result in Australia as last year, and the same for Bahrain. As those are our results from last year. As you can see, Bahrain and Australia are exactly the same. So can we make it 3 exact results in China? I know I won't be complaining if that's the case, because that'll be another win on the cards. But until next Saturday, guys, I will see you around. Have a great week, and I will see you in your sub boxes next week. It's goodbye from me. I'll see you later in China.
And you make me feel like a rebel.